Are you or someone you know looking to buy or sell a home? When you use a HomeGain Realtor to buy or sell a home, you can get $150. Visit HomeGain.com and click on the Promo 150 banner at the top of the page to get started. Compare HomeGain Realtors and choose your favorite. Complete your home purchase or sale transaction with a HomeGain Realtor, and HomeGain will pay you $150. Get started today by going to HomeGain.com. Welcome back, Washington, D.C. Metro, to Real Estate 360 Live. I'm your host, Ryan Sloper, joined by my guest, Louis Cammarosano, the general manager of HomeGain. Quick reminder, Real Estate 360 is designed to build the Washington, D.C. Metro's housing and credit markets one house at a time. If you ever have any questions, concerns, or real estate needs, the best number to reach out to us is 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030. That's an off-air phone number. If you call that number, just leave your name, phone number, and a brief message, and I would be glad to get back to you by the end of business today. Louis, you had sent me an article, I believe it was last week, in Yahoo Finance that basically had stated that 1 in 2 new graduates are jobless or underemployed. And basically is saying that there's going to be a rude awakening for the college class of 2012 when they go to enter into the workforce. And not knowing, everybody's kind of like, I have this bachelor degree and it's going to be great. I'm going to get out into the job market and I'm going to get all these different offers from multiple companies. And within the article, they gave an example of one guy that a 23-year-old that graduated in 2010 that had a creative writing degree. And initially, he was hopeful that his college education would create opportunities for him. And after 3 months of searching for a job, he ended up taking a job as a barista, a position he has held for the last 2 years. And, he's been sending out 3 to 4 resumes a day since then, but nothing is actually coming, about. And what's more troubling to me is that most of, he's been asking different people, and the best advice that they have for him is to go back to school, where he can take out more student loans, rack up more debt, gain more
irrelevant experience.
Absolutely. It's amazing.
There's a difference between an education and job skills.
Yeah, sure there is.
What you learn in college is good for your personal development. There's some applicability to the world and how you behave and so on and how you look at things. But most of what you learn in college does not prepare you for anything that you need to do on a job. Most jobs require you to have good phone skills, to know how to use an Excel spreadsheet, to know how to interact, understand business concepts. In most cases, you don't learn that in college.
Not at all. And it's just interesting that the best advice that people have these days is, hey, just go get some more schooling. Like, really?
Put on some more debt.
Yeah. Like,
The best thing to do is to take an entry-level job, no matter where it is, and get some job skills going when you come out of college.
And I guess...
Or don't go to college for a couple of years.
Sure.
And see how you do with an employer. Prove yourself there. If you're bright, smart, you did well in high school, you should have enough education. You should know your math. You should understand basic concepts, and you can learn on the job and make some money instead of spending money in college.
I totally agree there, and it's interesting.
College should be a luxury. I mean, most people go to college. They're not even interested in what they're learning. They're there to pick up the degree, but they're not really interested in English literature. For the most part, there are people who want to go on to be English professors, history professors, have a genuine interest in academics. But most people are in college because they think they're going to get a diploma that's going to help them get a job. So they party for the entire semester, and then they cram 2 nights before the exam, and that's basically the extent of their education, and they're spending a lot of money for that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's interesting, in my personal situation, I went to a small liberal arts college in Richmond, Virginia, and, I played college basketball there. But, I always tell people, and they think it's kind of funny, but I actually say that I learned more skills that helped me in the real world from my days of playing basketball there than I actually did.
Sure, there's teamwork and so on.
Exactly, from showing up to class and learning business economics. Now, granted, I understand the whole supply and demand thing. I understand that. But as far as, once you get thrown into the workforce, all that kind of goes out the window. You really need to be able to, like you said, have those type of skills. And the only way you're going to develop those skills is to have to be thrown into a situation where you're actually working on those skills. And
every employer has different requirements, and you have to learn your employer's requirements. You don't bring your skills that you learned in college and hope that that's what your employer wants.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, the government, it kind of makes sense to me that they would keep pushing this whole education thing because they know the job market stinks right now. So the best thing is we'll just continue to get more education, and hopefully the job market will turn around after you do another 2 or 3 years. So it makes sense that they would continue to push that. It's troubling to me because, there's more and more. I mean, that's 50% of graduates right there. So that, year over year, I mean, the example they gave in here was a guy that graduated in 2010. So we're now talking about the class of 2012 that's getting ready to graduate. And I think that this is going to be a continuing trend for the next 3 to 5 years. So we're going to have tons and tons of unemployed graduates out there that are entering the force that you have to add to all the people that were already in the trying to get back into the workforce that had been, fired or whatever it may be. And actually leads me to my next point, which was that...
Before you go to your next point, it's interesting, Ryan, as the college degree becomes less and less marketable, why does it become more expensive to go to college?
It's a great question, right?
Well, it's because they have loans available for people to go to college, so colleges have an influx of people that are willing to pay, but at some point people are going to realize that the cost of a college education might not be worth it.
Yeah, when you hear some of these tuitions, $55,000 and $60,000 a year...
Has the education gotten better? Have your job prospects gotten better as a result of having gone to college? The answer is no. Then why are they raising tuition?
Right. Yeah.
The cost of education isn't more expensive. It's not like they're paying the teachers 50% raises.
And yeah, I mean, has it increased the students' ability to get a job when they get out of it? I mean, is it like, if you go to Harvard, you have you're increasing your chances of getting a job over $50,000 by 50%? Then it might make sense to pay more if they could, have some sort of statistic like that. But
college isn't market driven. That's the problem.
Yep. Yeah. And it's interesting because we almost have 26% of all student loans that are backed by the government, who ultimately us, the taxpayers, are responsible for, are going into default right now. So
we're funding the colleges to increase their education prices.
Yeah, and they
without any societal benefit. It's not like the kids are coming out better educated or more equipped for their jobs, or it doesn't even help them get a job.
Well, school's making more money, and the students that graduate are making Zippo when they get out. I mean,
transfer payment to the educational industry.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me because I mean, the young. And these are the young minds out there that, it's on one hand, you have like, these brilliant minds from like the guy Zuckerberg for Facebook that comes out, and all these other minds that, they've never even been to school and they're developing and creating great companies. And I think it's just, the norm, the social norm of, hey, let's just go through the college experience. And,
totally different than preparing for work, though. The college experience, the university experience is one of higher learning.
Yeah.
And most people aren't equipped for higher learning or not interested in higher learning. They just want to get a job.
Yeah.
And colleges should be for people who are interested in academics and really learning the disciplines of literature, history, economics, and so on. But not everybody's interested in that.
No.
And not everybody's really capable of spending the amount of time necessary. I mean, how many people in your college class actually read the reading list?
Oh, probably none.
Exactly. They look at cliff notes, they cram before the exam, but they're not actually devouring because they have a genuine interest in learning.
No. It's not, I went in knowing...
They're paying for it.
Right, exactly. And I knew when I went in there that I wanted to do something in the business world, didn't really know what that was. And, but in order for me to get my degree in business economics, I had to take, these crazy economics classes, comparative sustainable advantage, things that I had no clue about what it even meant. So, as you can imagine...
They also only teach Keynesian economics in colleges as well, so you really don't learn any nuts and bolts Austrian economics when you go to college.
Yeah, it is actually interesting.
Deficit spending and stimulus from the Keynesians.
Yeah, it is interesting because I actually had one of my economics professors on the show. I don't remember, it was probably about a year ago or so, but he asked him certain questions and he kind of didn't know any of the answers, or he didn't want to answer me. It was because the textbook just kind of gives you this one set way of the way economics is done. And as soon as I started bringing up, the Fed and what they're doing to devalue the dollar and he didn't really want to go into any of that.
The people in economics that are teaching in the schools are the direct beneficiary of the policies of the government loaning money so people can go to college and listen to them and pay them for their positions.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. I agree with that. It's interesting because now that I look back on my experience, I had a great experience and all that. But like I said, I mean, I justify the amount of money that had to be spent to obtain that education? I don't think so. I could have probably.
Are you a radio host? Are you a mortgage specialist because you went to college?
No, not at all. And the interesting thing is about all that, Lewis, too, is that I actually started in the mortgage industry working for my dad in probably the summer before I graduated. So that summer when I started learning all about the mortgage industry and what it entailed, it was my education of what I was, the job that I was getting ready to take place. Nothing in school actually told me anything about mortgages. And it's probably the same for any profession, real estate, anything else that you would get into. You're going to be taught by that company. They're going to train you. But it's all about how marketable are you when you get out of school? What experiences have you had? And, for me, I probably could have taken a job working for somebody else. I just chose not to. I chose to work for myself. But, if you go through those experiences, for me, it was basketball and the team and the unity and all that kind of gave me the drive to want to work on my own. But for a lot of people out there, if all you have is the school background, you don't have any job history or, it's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough. But, the interesting point in that article was like, hey, why don't you go ahead and get a job, see how you like it, and then, figure out if from there you don't, then maybe you do transition into going to college or something like that. But it's not necessarily the first and only option.
Sure. Now, there's some specialist education you can take. If you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, those you kind of have to go to school for.
Right. Teacher, nurse, certain things like that. Yeah.
Certified type work.
And believe it or not, Lewis, those are the jobs that are actually available right now, are those type of jobs. There's more nursing jobs and teaching jobs and jobs of that nature than there are the other jobs. And a lot of it has to do with technology, like, people that are working in banks and stuff like that. Now there's so much technology, they're starting to eliminate a lot of those positions to cut costs. So it's definitely interesting. When we're coming up on a break, when we come back, we're going to go over a Republican lawmaker that's calling for change on how the government measures the unemployment rate. Very interesting. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.